Hey everyone, so in today's video, I'm sharing with you all my Sephora savings event haul. New eyeshadows out the wazoo. Products that you guys have been wanting me to try for a very long time. Launches that no one is really talking about anymore, but actually we could be onto something with them. Cheaper alternatives, a little foundation comparison for you guys, and my new favorite holiday fragrance. But we're gonna get into everything that I bought, putting a bunch of it on my face, comparisons, so I hope you all enjoy. Let us begin. A lot of these products though, I've been wanting to try for months. So I was a little bit backlogged on trying some of these new launches. I actually already have started to test this makeup as well. So some of the products, this is more like second impression kind of thing. I'm just going right ahead in with the Merit Great Skin because my skin has been feeling very dry. And I want to go for kind of like a party look today. A little bit of like a holiday party kind of thing. I want to make sure that my skin is really well prepped. And this is like one of those, like a cheat code to really like beautiful glassy skin. I've loved this one for a long time. It just gives the skin this really lovely glow. If you're into like biphase oils, you're gonna be a big fan of this. Now for foundation, you all already know that I recommended the good old Natasha Denona High Glam Foundation. This is the one that I've been absolutely loving, and it was my top recommendation for foundation. However, some of you mentioned to me that you can't get it where you live. I believe it was Sephora Canada doesn't carry it. So I wanted to call out that the Nars Light Reflecting is very similar to the Natasha Denona. So I thought that it could be fun to do one side of my face with each, just so you guys could kind of see it on the skin. I mean, why not? So these shades are not like perfect matches with each other, but this is the Light Reflecting Foundation in Mont Blanc. Honestly, there's a good chance that I might go back and pick this up during the savings event. It is great medium coverage. Applies like a dream. Like there's really, you don't have to put in a lot of effort for this to look really lovely. This is actually like too much. I pumped out too much, but immediately everything is covered. Really lovely coverage. You don't really need a concealer after that. At least I don't feel like I need it. And there's this creamy kind of blur that it gives the skin. Now let's go ahead in with the shade Y2 from Natasha Denona. Now you can see these are two different undertones here. The reason I tend to lean a little bit more towards Y2 from Natasha Denona isn't because it's a better shade for my face, it's that it's a better shade for my neck. And this shade, Mont Blanc, is a better shade for my face. The annoying part about me is that I have a more neutral face, and then my neck is quite yellow. So I do like to try to go slightly more yellow and warm with my foundation. Do you wonder if there would be a slightly better foundation match for me in the Natasha Denona? But so again, that just applies really seamlessly. I would say as far as coverage, the Natasha Denona, I think because it's a little bit thinner, it has slightly less coverage. And the Nars Light Reflecting has a slight bit more coverage. That is what it looks like. I mean, for me, as far as finish, like the way it looks, I think that these are pretty similar. I forget the price difference between the two, but I would honestly just go with whatever you have a better shade match in and whatever happens to be cheaper between the two of them. One thing that's nice about the Natasha Denona is that for folks that really love that like no foundation feel, it does have that more than the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation does. Like it really does not feel like much when you put it on your skin. But I do think that the Nars has a little bit more of kind of like this creamy glowy look. So if you have very dry skin, there could be a chance you'd be better off with the Nars Mont Blanc and Y2. However, we also have two different bronzers to try. So it's actually gonna balance out I have a theory that everything's going to kind of balance out. But for the concealer, I'm going to go ahead with my good old Kosas Revealer. As we're doing a bit of concealer, I wanted to also show you all one of the first items that I picked up. Now again, keep in mind that we're like trying things on as we go, so that's why I haven't showed you any of the makeup yet. We have Jo Malone London Ginger Biscuit. I had the decision to choose between the travel size of the Jo Malone, or they also had a duo with the apricot, but I decided to go with this one because people were not giving good reviews on the apricot for whatever reason. And this was more up my alley anyway. It smells so, so good. I've already worn it once, so. Oh my gosh. You know what's really lovely about it is there's a lot of nutmeg and there's kind of that creamy nutmeggy sweetness to it, but there's a distinct kind of bite, like a gingery bite to it that doesn't go too sweet. So many holiday fragrances. It's cloyingly sweet. This is not one of those really cloyingly sweet fragrances. I highly recommend it, honestly. This is probably one of my favorite Jo Malone fragrances that I have smelled. I wanted to zoom you guys in even a little bit closer, and I messed with the lighting a little bit just because I want you to get the real look at these foundations. So again, that's the Nars, and that is the Natasha Denona. Really, as far as final finish to it, again, like the only real difference I see is that slight extra moisture and creaminess that the Nars has. So I think that the Nars could provide a bit of relief or moisture more so than the Natasha Denona. For those of you with drier skin, I see the Natasha Denona working better for those of you that really do not like to have a foundation feel on your skin, but you don't want your formula to like dry the heck out of your skin either. And I'm actually gonna take a little bit more of the Kosas just on that one little spot. You know, I talk a lot about the Kosas Revealer. Obviously, if you haven't watched my recommendations video, I'm sure a lot of you have, but if you haven't, please go check out that video. But I talk a lot about this for under the eyes. Sometimes I forget that if you guys have not heard me talk about it on the face, I also absolutely love it for the face, for pimples, for dry blemishes, all of that good stuff. Well, you know, all that slightly annoying stuff. But now I am so excited to talk about bronzer because I've been having a moment with bronzer. My bronzers just have not been serving me the way that I've wanted them to. So I picked up another one of my Makeup by Mario soft sculpt shaping sticks because my old one was from the original release. It was starting to get weird. It wasn't blending the way that it usually does. So typically that means that like it's expired. And also I should not be putting that on my face. So we went ahead, I did go ahead, and during the savings event, I bought a new one. This already, yeah, already it's a better texture, and it's the texture I remember. The other one was getting like almost like putty, like it was really drying out. Whatever the oils or emollients in it, they were nowhere to be found anymore. But we're not going to do that product, because we have two new bronzers to try out today. We have the new talc-free blurring soft sculpt from Makeup by Mario in the shade Light Medium. So I wanted to get this shade in particular, Light Medium, because I always loved this shade in the stick, but I never tried it in the powder. So I want to see how it works in the powder. I have tried it out once before, and the first impressions were good. But I also saw that Basma also has a talc-free new bronzer, and it is a powder, and it has a luminous velvet finish. I really like those descriptors. So I want to compare the textures on the skin. I want to compare how it actually blends and the shades as well. So with the Basma, I got the shade Light, and again, this is the shade Light Medium from Makeup by Mario. So I think what I'm gonna do And I'm going to do something a little bit weird. I'm going to try and balance a little bit and go with this shade and light with over here with the Natasha Denona, and then light medium over here with Nars, because I feel like this probably in comparison has a slight bit more pink. Probably not much, but I'll give you guys swatches here. Okay, so this is the Basma. Very, very thin texture. And then we have the shade light medium. I won't lie to you guys. I gave you my reasoning for buying this shade, but there is a part of me that wishes I just went with the shade light instead of light medium, because I think that it might end up being a summertime bronzer for me. Yeah. Honestly, I wish I picked up the light medium shade in the cream bronzer and then the light shade in the powder, which is what I did initially when it first launched. Neither here nor there. We're gonna still go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and do this thing. So these are the brushes I'm going to use. By the way, the IT Cosmetics number 7 brush, I don't know if I've ever expressed this to you all. I'm sure I have. Hold on one second. I love this brush, if you can't tell. It is one of the only brushes I travel with, because you have essentially a concealer or eyeshadow brush on one end. Then you have a beautiful, perfect foundation brush on this end. It blends powders and creams well. It's small enough to do blushes and bronzers, but also fluffy and soft enough to do foundation. So it is, I would not be surprised if it's their best-selling brush. And I think it's for a good reason. So yeah, like there's the black version. This was the like the Valentine's Day version. So I'm going to go ahead and use again the Basma. Slightly more pink, but really it's just more neutral and less warm than the Makeup by Mario. And we're gonna use that on this side. And I think we could get a good balance going. Maybe. Blending very nicely. And you guys can see this is how I like to apply my bronzer. I always do a good pat. I almost set my product, or my foundation I should say, with my bronzer. This is also going to ensure that you're not swiping and getting lines of powder on the face. That's really lovely. Looks very thin on the skin. So I'm sorry, I have to put something on the lips right now. I'm just doing my Pout Preserve. I thought I could wait until we did lips, but my lips are too dry. It's very, very nice though. It's very smooth. I'm not seeing it pick up on any hair or anything, which is nice. You know, it was interesting I was thinking about hair on the face, as I periodically do, because I get very, very, again, benign, well-intentioned comments on my channel about like, you should look into dermaplaning, etc, etc. I can't dermaplane because it actually like full on I would break out all over my face. I have very sensitive skin. But I was thinking that it is kind of good that I have the hair that I do on my face, because I'm able to tell you all who, you know, I don't know how many of you have a hairy face the way I do. I'm able to tell you how products cling or do not cling to hair. And bronzer is one of those products that really likes to cling to hair. This one did a really nice job of not doing that. But I think let's go ahead and do the Makeup by Mario on this side. So I have a good feeling about the application of this, because I already applied it the first day that I bought it. Yeah, I mean, even though I'm feeling a certain way about the shade, I wish I got the shade light. One thing that I cannot stress enough, it's just one of those bronzers that doesn't look choppy and awkward and weird. Texture right here, actually the most texture on my entire face, other than like where I have blemishes, is on this cheek right here. This is just, it's taking it, it's blending like just flawlessly, really. I am going to say, first impressions wise, I actually am more impressed by the Makeup by Mario than I am the Basma. And I'm not sure what the price difference is on these two, but the Basma, you don't get a mirror. That was kind of a bummer. And like, I'm just gonna call out that it's not my favorite look that I can see the glue sitting there. It just feels that feels a bit cheap to me. And again, there's no mirror. It just feels like, you know, packaging is packaging, like as long as the formula is great. But you get 0.15 ounces of product in here. You get 0.25 in the Makeup by Mario. So you're also like getting not quite double the product, but you're getting more with the Makeup by Mario as well. You're getting a really, really beautiful mirror. So my first impressions are that I would still recommend the Makeup by Mario over the one from Basma. But Basma wins on foundation because I much prefer the stick foundation from Basma to the luminous foundation from Makeup by Mario. Now, I didn't buy the other one that he has because apparently it's not amazing for dry skin. So I was like, I'm just not gonna do it. However, I did pick up, this was something that I meant to mention in my wish list portion of my Sephora savings event video. Something that I meant to mention is that I really wanted to try out the Glossier new like plush blushes. So I picked up the shade Gale. Now, I saw Storm actually in person. I might also buy Storm because it looks like a perfect one and done blush. Like blush bronzer, blonzer, if you will. It looks really, really pretty. But this also seemed like a blush that I could just throw on, especially with the texture. So here's the texture. You see how it's like, it has a little bit of give to it. There's a silky kind of quality. It's not a cream, certainly not a cream, but here's the shade Gale right at the bottom. I'm liking that shade. I'm liking the texture, but let's see how it looks. The texture is almost reminding me of the Glossier Play blushes, except not quite as squishy, just a little bit less squishy. Oh my God. I don't think that there is much of a market for subtle makeup. I know that that is actually highly debatable because obviously like no makeup, clean girl makeup has been a thing for a long time. But I mean like these so subdued but beautiful kind of makeup. I almost want to say like Tuck Everlasting makeup. Something so softly romantic. This has immediately transported me and inspired me with the texture, with this color. My skin looks better having put that on texturally. Let me show you again in real time how this looks. So you can see like I don't even really have a lot of crazy pores there, but I just want you guys to see as up close as possible what this does. That is, I don't have the words. Beautiful, plushy cheek look. I am no doubt 100% going and buying Storm because this completely sold me. Also, I saw a lot of people talk about these when they first launched, but not really a peep after. This is the most impressive. Well, I mean, if this lasts, obviously I have to do a wear test. First impressions, this is the first Glossier launch in a while that has gotten my attention really at all. Like this is one of my favorite blush looks of the year. And again, I wish I could communicate that I know it doesn't look like a lot. It's more about the texture, how it looks texturally on the skin, how it makes the skin look really beautifully silky, but not silky in a powder way. Powders right now that do this weird blurring thing that wherever it is, you can see that it's blurred with like powder rather than it just be like soft focus. This looks like I have been using my retinol every single night. The last couple of nights, I've gotten a little bit lazy. So the fact that it looks like I'm using my skincare consistently just by applying this blush, I'm very happy. And by the way, this blush, 0.21 ounces. 0.21 ounces. Why are we getting 0.15 ounces out of a bronzer? I'm just gonna call that out. I'm going through bronzer faster than blush. Okay, so far, out of everything I've put on my face, this has me even more excited. I'm definitely going to be buying another shade. So actually, if you have any of these, leave me a comment with your experience and leave me a shade that you think I should pick up. So again, this shade Gale is kind of, not gonna lie, I don't even know if I could do better with this. It looks like such a nothing shade, but it just makes my skin sing. If you have a shade you love, leave your skin tone and your undertone down below for other people so it's helpful. So before we get into the eyes, I did want to mention like skincare bits. I did pick up the Edam Cashmere Peel Gentle Exfoliating Toner. I haven't tried it out yet, but I have been looking for really, really gentle exfoliating toners. Right now, my skincare routine basically consists of the Merit Double Cleanse, which is a very gentle exfoliating cleanser. That is what is keeping my skin in check in my adult hormonal acne. Combination with, of course, I already let you guys know, my Naturium Retinol. This is not including moisturizer. My Naturium Retinol and then my Paula's Choice Skin Clearing Treatment. This is benzoyl peroxide, a spot treatment basically only for my chin or for any like deep cystic breakouts. But everyone talks about how this is really, really good for sensitive skin. It has lactic acid, which again, lactic acid is very, very gentle, super gentle, and actually really helps to hydrate the skin in the process of you using it. As like acid, which is one of those ingredients that dermatologists recommend over and over and over if you deal with pigmentation, adult acne. And there's also tranexamic acid. So tranexamic acid is a newer acid to me. It's very good for brightening. I've had good consistent results when I use it, but I have always prioritized using my retinol. So on nights when I use this, I'm not going to use my retinol. And then finally, two ingredients that I love. Rice water I use in my skincare almost every day, and oatmeal is just so good for sensitized skin. So I know I already told you guys about how much I love their lip balm, but I'm really, really excited to try out their acid. And then also I just had to shout out that I did pick up my Astura Outer Barrier Cream because I didn't even have it to show you guys in my Sephora recommendations video because I had gone through it, and then I have been not keeping my empties because if you guys could see this room, that is a new boundary for me and my makeup collection. I'm really gonna try to not keep empties. It just like things start to clutter in my brain. Now I am very, very excited for the eyes because we have the new shade of the Kulfi Zari eyes. I think it's Chodney Rot. I already let you all know how much I love Bronze Brocade. This is their stunning, stunning bronze. Unbelievably gorgeous. But keep in mind, I wanted to try out some of the other colors that launched. This new one really, really called to me because I just feel like it is going to be a cool toned, glorious dream. It's the same like kind of wet texture. Actually, they filled this baby straight to the top. This is a little bit different than the last one. It's slightly more sheer than Bronze Brocade. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. It feels wetter to me and slightly more sheer. So I have not used this shade yet, but you know what I also bought? And this was because you guys have kept following up and asking me about the Danessa Myricks Color Sticks multi-use pigment pencils. You guys keep asking about these. And I think the shade that I got, the duo I got, it just was not hitting for me. I thought I owed it to Danessa Myricks because I am kind of obsessed with her. And also, side note, I'm also considering getting another one of like her mini blurring blushes, like the cream ones. There's like this really beautiful set I might get. So I decided to pick up the duo number 4 with Apollo and Artemis. And I think on this eye, we're gonna go ahead and do Apollo and Artemis. And then this eye, we will do the new Kulfi. So let me give you a swatch. This is the metallic side. And to me, that just looks like a good old metallic brown. That shade, even alone, looks more appealing than the last shade that I tried in the other duo. Because this looks almost like a Mona Lisa shade, like from Charlotte Tilbury, like very classic brown. But this shade, this golden shade, and them combined, I think it was doing more. Really insanely sparkly. For the life of me, I can't find the other duo to swatch for you guys, so I apologize about that. And I'm just gonna take the other side of my IT Cosmetics brush, and I'm gonna apply just a little bit to the brush, but still I am going to swipe it on the eyes because I think swiping it directly on gets you the best payoff. But it's nice to just kind of prime your brush a little bit with it. So, because this kind of product likes to stick to itself in the way of blending, it's easier for a product to want to stick to a like texture. And I'm just gonna use a fluffy brush to blend the edges a little bit. And again, that's pretty, but this alone for the price point, I wouldn't recommend this. It's nice, but it's not beautiful enough. And that's just me in metallics. Like that's a tale as old as time kind of thing with me and these metallics. I need them to really, really give me something incredible at this price point. Which, by the way, we will talk about the Patrick Ta, the new eyeshadows in a second, because I did get an opportunity to swatch them in person. And there are some things I think you guys need to know. So yeah, I'm just gonna like tap this on a little bit more to intensify. And you're gonna have to be fast with these. They're not like the easiest user-friendly formula. I don't think these are like the best place to start. That's just me being completely honest. Now, let's go ahead into the glitter side. This is the combo together is what I'm the most excited about. All right, and I'm just swiping it directly on. Yeah, this is giving like more of that molten gold. Really fun, sparkly kind of holiday thing that I was hoping it would give. That's why this kind of like inspired the makeup look all the way up the eye. Even within each other, it blends the best. Just like directly swiping on the lid. But yeah, that is quite lovely. It's much prettier than the last one. There's something easier about it and more impactful. It's a similar effect, I think, to the Patrick Ta original duos. So I would say, you know, this is the cream version. It's really long lasting. You're not going to need a glitter glue, but it's more difficult to work with getting it on. But the Patrick Ta, there might be a little bit of fallout, but it is way more user-friendly and you're gonna get the same effect. So I feel like it just depends on what you want and you're gonna have to weigh your options. Now, let's go ahead in with the Kulfi eyeshadow. Just gonna swipe that on. Yeah, it's way wetter. And it's slippier than the last one as well. And it's not really giving much impact. So I'm gonna take the brush, I dipped that brush directly in, and I'm just gonna start tapping it to see if it gives more reflection, and it's not really. So I'm just gonna take my finger and try again, just tapping that on to build up the pigment. That's pretty, but it's so slippy, which is so odd. The other ones do not have this kind of texture. I'm sure that it will dry down because they always do. And the swatch of my hand has dried down. But I'm just gonna keep building this up. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of removing the concealer that I have on, which is a big no-no for cream shadows and me. If you start removing my concealer that I have under, we kind of like have a problem, unfortunately. It's looking like it's not even perfectly blended, but I'm gonna tell you guys, and this is why I think it's really important for me to try to get like hauls and first impressions up before the savings event ends so you guys can actually see what I thought of when I bought it. I'm not happy with that at all. It is completely set down, but you can literally just see my bare lid. So we're gonna have to adjust here. I am not standing for this. And you know what? That is a shame because as I redo this concealer, I'm gonna give you guys a review of another Kulfi product that I tried that I know that some of you are going to be disappointed to hear this, but for me, I mean, this is obviously my channel. I have to be completely transparent about my experiences with all of these products that I try. The Kulfi Lassi Lip Standing Lip Oil is, I think it's overrated. I have tried it once and I was like, So I'm a lip stain. There might not be another kind of lip product that I love as much as lip stains. I'm gonna quickly put this one on for you and give you guys the 411, you guys the lowdown on why there are many better options. In fact, an option that is at Sephora that is cheaper, that is, I think, more beautiful. It's a lip staining lip oil. By the way, I am going to do the other eye. I'm just giving the concealer a second, and also my eye because I don't like to tug so much with my eye all at once. So I'm going to put this on this side. It's pretty. It is very thin and it is absolutely a lip oil texture. Very pretty. Like, I will never knock the way it looks when it goes on because that's lovely. I think the color is stunning. This shade Rose, very pretty. It's what happens as you continue to wear it. With this kind of lip oil texture, I found that once I continued on with my day and wore it, it offered zero hydration, like lasting hydration, and it left my lips looking quite wrinkly, which is odd. Not because I don't have wrinkles in my lips, I definitely do. It's odd because other lip stains typically don't do that. Keeping in mind, I am someone that probably wears a K-beauty or an Asian beauty lip stain multiple times a week. This one is made in Korea, so I was really excited by that. You know what other lip stain is made in Korea? It's the Totally Juicy lip stain from Sephora. 30% off right now. And get this, guys, it's a better formula. Right away, it's a different texture. Creamier and more moisture. So this is the shade, these are clearly not like super similar shades, but I just wanted to give you a swatch. That's the shade 02 from Sephora. There's a creaminess, it almost feels closer to a glossy balm than the Kulfi, which feels like a true lip oil. You can even see it in the swatch. That's the shade Rose. You see how there's like the Kulfi goes translucent really easily, whereas the Sephora looks less streaky. That's not just because of the color or the pigmentation, it's because the Kulfi is truly like a lip oil that leaves behind a stain. So you can see both of them have already stained. Love that shade. Again, both shades are very pretty, but on my lips, the Sephora leaves behind that juicy comfort. The way it adheres to the lips feels more comforting. So if you would like to prioritize a very, very thin lip balm or a very thin lip oil that happens to stain, it's not going to be super glossy. Like you guys can see, this has already gone down to a very more like satin finish. If you like very thin but staining and not super glossy, I still think that you could really like the Kulfi. I would say if you have very dehydrated lips, for me personally, I think there are better options. The Sephora for me is the clear winner. Like the way my lip lines look. Let me show you guys. I'm seeing every single little lip line there. Whereas over here, even with a shade that typically is going to exaggerate lip lines more, all of that feels more plush. This feels more plush, more hydrated, more supported. I'm seeing every little line there. And I think I could be nitpicking a little bit because of my experience with this category. That makes me really, really picky because I've tried out a lot. You know, especially at that price point, there are so many other K-beauty products that I think are better. That was kind of the reason I didn't buy it, because I was like, how much different could it actually be than the ones I like? And I think, unfortunately, I was right. I would say I even like the ones from Violette more. Actually, recently picked up another like very, very sparkly, wet looking eyeshadow. I'm not gonna give you guys a spoiler yet, but that product is around 30 bucks. I think it's one of the best I've tried this year. I think I'm going to do a whole dedicated video on that one, actually. So there is the Danessa Myricks duo. I definitely prefer this duo to the last one that I had. I think, and by the way, I am going to just like put this Sephora lip stain on the entirety of my lips now, even though it really doesn't go with the eye look very much. Actually, maybe I will just take it off. Personally, for me, again, I think there are a lot of you that will enjoy it for the longevity, the fact that you don't need a glitter glue. But for me personally, the Patrick Ta duos are delivering better results for me, are easier to blend, they're easier to work with. That is both of them combined, those are them separate. For me personally, I think because are more facets to the Patrick Ta shadows, they look a little bit wetter than the Danessa Myricks do. So my final call on Danessa Myricks versus the Patrick Ta is that I still think I prefer the Patrick Ta. However, these new shades, I went in and tried, swatched some of the newer shades because they have like a cooler toned shade. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go in store and look at that. You know, luckily they actually had them in store. It feels like a lot of products that I wanted to try were out of stock. So I went ahead and tried it out. And those are so dry and they do not look as wet looking. So something when I talk about wet looking eyeshadows, something that I mention is that you can have a drier formula that still looks wet, but part of what makes reflection happen is that a product has to sit so closely on the skin and the glitters have to create almost that mirror smoothness. And the more rough pieces of flecked glitter you have, it can still look twinkling and stunning, but it's gonna look less wet. Those have very little base pigment, so there's not as much contrast, and they're drier and more likely to kind of create that twinkled effect. They're very lovely, but I think they're also way dupeable. Like if you have any Pat McGrath palette, I'd say you definitely have already played with that kind of texture and you're not going to be really impressed by the new ones from Patrick Ta. That is why I still go back and say, like, I think the OG duos from this line from Patrick Ta were the most special. And even the gold one, I'm not even a massive gold fan. That's one of the most beautiful gold shadows I've ever used. So I'm gonna still go back and say this is like my favorite. Now let's go ahead and do a little bit of liner. I think I want to do like black liner, or maybe not black. I don't know. I haven't done black liner in a long time, but I think I'm going to use my Make Beauty Substellar liner. This is the brown one. But I think I want to also mention this fantastic mascara that I haven't talked about in a bit, and it's the Lash Clash from YSL. You know, I'm not really like a super luxury mascara person, but that one is freaking good. So I'm just gonna tightline a little bit to complete this kind of like holiday look with the Kosas eyeliner. I love this one. It's so creamy for tightlining, and the impact is so immediate. Like, hard for me to be convinced to use another tight line right now. I just don't want a scratchy eyeliner in my eyes. And then this Lash Clash from YSL, this is the brown one. And I'm just looking down into my mirror. That is a fat lash look. And I am so into it. If you prefer like that old school mascara wand, just really fluffy, almost actually reminiscent of the red mascara from Nars, you're probably going to be a fan of this. I think I want to kind of like take down this color a little bit. So I'm going to use a nude. These are the lip liners from Jones Road. So I'm going to go with the shade, let's go with Nude Rose. Like, this is playing along with the color enough while also taking the intensity down a little bit as far as like the saturated reds that I was getting. And what if for the lips I show you one of my favorite lip stains that is more affordable? Because I gave you the option of the Sephora, but let me show you guys. Going into my makeup closet. So even if you want something that's more of a lip oil texture, there are a lot of these kinds of lip oil textures in K-Beauty. And you know what? Chinese beauty as well. The Judy Doll lip gloss. This is a staining lip gloss, but it's essentially like a lip oil that stains the lips. And this shade is the shade N01. It's still much thinner the way that the Kulfi is. So crap, I just got that all over my pants. So that's N01 from Judy Doll. That's very similar. The Kulfi definitely has a little bit more, slightly more orange. But yeah, those are still pretty similar and don't feel like they're gonna start drying out on me. As a recap, this is what I have found through my purchasing, through comparisons, once I got these products back with my collection. Obviously, I can't give you guys a review yet of the Edam Cashmere Acid, so I apologize about that. I haven't had the chance to use it. The Kulfi shadows, this new one, the texture has changed and the pigmentation of this one in particular has changed. Very good chance that they wanted to go with something more sheer, but on my eyes, it removes the concealer that I have on and starts to wash it away. So that to me is like a huge no-no, and unfortunately I just can't recommend it. Still love Bronze Brocade though. Now I already gave you guys my little comparison of the Natasha Denona versus the Nars Light Reflecting because I kept getting comments about the Natasha Denona foundation. The bronzers, I think for me personally, the Makeup by Mario is still where I'm going to be spending my money on my bronzers, whether it is the powder or the cream. I think that they are like kind of bar none the best on the market. That's where I'm going to be spending my money. The fact that you get 0.15 ounces of this kind of packaging is a bummer. One of my favorite purchases though that I made during the sale, again, is this the Jo Malone Ginger Biscuit. This is going to be repeat wearing this all winter. I am so glad that I picked that up and I just, pulled the trigger on getting it. I wanted to get it last year. I didn't. And I'm so glad that I did this year because I just love it. These Glossier Cloud Paint Plush blushes, no one really is talking about these anymore. These are incredible. It's one of my favorite parts about this entire makeup look. So you will absolutely be seeing me talk more about this, seeing me put this on my face. I'm so happy with it. Now, the Danessa Myricks Duo, the eyeshadow duo. Again, I'm wearing Apollo and Artemis on here, I believe is what it's called. It's the duo number 4. I still think that there's a learning curve to them, and I prefer something that is easier. That's my final answer. They look really beautiful, but they do last very long though, and that is something that people really enjoy about these. I love this green kind of gold shade though. It like feels very festive. It feels very holiday to me. And I told you guys in my wish list that I was gonna pick up that the new Patrick Ta shadows. No, 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 I will not. They're drier, they're not as wet looking. So that was everything. I hope this was helpful. If you guys have questions, again, I'm in my comments always to help you guys out. Thank you as always for being here, and I will see you in my next one.